Listen up, because this one is for real. You're not here by accident. You came to get something that could change everything about how you look at life, how you approach it, and how you move forward. We're talking about killing your weak feelings. Now, I know right now you might be thinking, what does that even mean? Kill my feelings. That sounds crazy, but let me tell you something, your feelings are killing you. You're sitting there letting every little bump in the road, every setback, every little disappointment control you. Your emotions are holding you hostage, trapping you in a place where you don't belong. You've got to start taking control, taking responsibility for what's going on inside of you. Weak feelings like fear, doubt, and insecurity don't have any place in your life if you're serious about going somewhere, about doing something, about becoming somebody. See, there's a difference between feeling something and letting that feeling run your life. Life's going to throw stuff at you. It's going to challenge you. It's going to test you in ways you didn't see coming. But how you respond to those tests determines everything. Are you going to be a victim of your feelings, or are you going to be the master of them? Are you going to let your emotions dictate your actions, or are you going to use your mind, your discipline, and your strength to overcome them? You know what I'm talking about? Those mornings you wake up feeling tired, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you just can't take another step. You feel it, right? The temptation to just stay in bed, pull the covers up, shut the world out. I get it. That's the easy choice. But the easy choice is what keeps people stuck. The easy choice is what keeps you in that same place you've always been. It's what keeps you from reaching for more, from pushing yourself harder, from becoming the person you know you're meant to be. But you've got to make a decision. You've got to make a choice every single day to leave the weakness behind. You've got to make a decision to stop feeling sorry for yourself and stop allowing yourself to fall into those traps. You've got to stop letting fear control your decisions, stop letting doubt rob you of your confidence, and stop letting laziness rob you of your potential. You know that feeling when you're about to do something that scares you? That little voice inside of you that tries to talk you out of it, tries to convince you that you're not good enough, that you're not ready, that it's too hard. That's weakness talking. That's fear talking. And if you listen to it, you'll end up living a life smaller than what you're capable of. You'll end up looking back years from now and realizing that you didn't even come close to the person you could have been. But you don't have to live that way. You can break free from those weak feelings. You can rise above them, but it takes work. It takes courage. It takes the kind of grit that doesn't quit when things get tough. You've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to fight through that voice of self-doubt that's telling you to stop. You've got to fight against that temptation to settle for less. And let me tell you something, it's a battle you can win. But it's not going to be easy. No one ever said it would be easy. You think the people you admire, the people who've achieved great things, had it easy? No, they fought through the same struggles you're dealing with right now. They didn't let their feelings get in the way. They didn't give in when things were tough. They didn't let fear, frustration, or failure define them. They fought through it. They pushed forward. They kept their eyes on the prize. And that's what you need to do. That's what you need to commit to. You need to commit to killing the weak feelings, every single one of them, and replace them with something stronger, something more powerful. We're all born with the same basic equipment. We all have brains, hearts, and legs. But what separates the winners from the losers, the successful from the unsuccessful, is the ability to take control of your mind. If you don't have control of your mind, if your emotions are running wild, if you let your weak feelings dictate your decisions, then you're already defeated before you even begin. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should be a robot. I'm not saying you should shut off all your emotions and pretend like they don't exist. Feelings are a part of life and they matter. But what I am saying is that you have to stop letting them control you. You have to stop letting them make your decisions for you. You have to stop letting your feelings tell you what you can or can't do, what you should or shouldn't try. If you want to succeed, if you want to achieve something great, then you have to train your mind to see past the weakness of your emotions. The best way to kill weak feelings is to create strong habits. Because you don't just get rid of weakness by wishing it away, you have to replace it with something better. You have to build mental toughness. You have to build habits of discipline, habits of action, habits that make you stronger every day. Every time you show up, every time you do the work, every time you push through the discomfort, you're building a foundation that no weak feeling can break. And that's how you build confidence. That's how you build strength. That's how you kill the weakness and replace it with something that actually works for you. It's not easy and it won't happen overnight. But it will happen if you're committed. It will happen if you're determined to do whatever it takes, no matter how hard it gets. You've got to make the decision that you will no longer let your feelings of fear, doubt, or insecurity control you. You have to make the decision that you're going to push through and take action regardless of how you feel. If you're waiting for the right time or for things to feel right, you're going to wait forever. The right time is now. The right time is when you make up your mind that you're done being controlled by weakness. I'm not telling you to ignore your feelings, but I am telling you to make sure your feelings don't control you. You're stronger than that. You're more powerful than that. You have the potential to do great things, but you've got to start acting like it. You've got to start living like it. It's not enough to just want it. You've got to go after it. You've got to make it happen. And that means stepping up, showing up, and refusing to let weak feelings get in your way. You want to know the secret? The secret is that the more you kill those weak feelings, the more you become who you were meant to be. The more you show up even when you don't feel like it, the more you build a mindset that refuses to quit. The more you do the hard things, the more your feelings start to shift. They start to change. They start to get in line with your purpose instead of dragging you down. And when your feelings are in line with your purpose, that's when everything changes. But you've got to be willing to put in the work. You've got to be willing to sacrifice comfort for growth. You've got to be willing to fight against the resistance, even when it feels like the world is telling you to stop. The road to greatness is never smooth, and the road to success is never without obstacles. But the more you fight through it, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the harder it is for weak feelings to take you down. So stop letting fear hold you back. Stop letting self-doubt steal your dreams. Stop letting procrastination rob you of your future. You are capable of so much more than you realize, but it all starts with the choice to get rid of weakness. Kill it, destroy it, and replace it with strength. Because at the end of the day, the only thing standing between you and your goals is the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. Weak feelings like fear, doubt, and insecurity can paralyze you. The key is to take control of your mind and not let your emotions dictate your decisions or actions. You have to rise above these weak feelings and train your mind to focus on what truly matters. Killing weak feelings isn't just about wishing them away. It's about replacing them with strong, disciplined habits that push you forward. Consistent action, showing up even when it's tough, and building mental toughness are all essential to overcoming emotional weaknesses. Waiting for the right time or perfect conditions only leads to stagnation. The real key to success is action, taking the steps even when you don't feel like it, and doing the hard work when it's uncomfortable. Progress comes through persistence, not waiting for the perfect moment. Both strength and success are built through discomfort. Every time you push through a challenge, you're strengthening your mindset and building resilience. The road to success isn't easy, but it's through overcoming obstacles that you become the person you're meant to be. You've got to understand something about life. It's not the things that happen to you that matter most. It's how you respond to them that makes all the difference. The world will throw obstacles at you. People will disappoint you. Failures will come. And yes, you will face moments where emotions overwhelm you, where fear, frustration, and doubt try to take over. But what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't is how they handle those emotions. It's easy to let emotions run the show. We all have them. They're part of being human. You wake up some days feeling like you can conquer the world, and on other days it feels like everything is against you. You may feel defeated, uncertain, or overwhelmed, and when those emotions take over, it's hard to keep moving forward. But here's the thing: you are not your feelings. You are not defined by your momentary emotional state. The emotions you feel are just temporary reactions to external events, but they don't define who you are or what you're capable of. They don't have to control your decisions unless you allow them to. Mastering your mind is about learning to separate your feelings from your actions. It's about realizing that While you can't always control the emotions that come up, you can control how you respond to them. Too many people allow fear to stop them from pursuing their dreams. They let self-doubt dictate their next move or let insecurity prevent them from stepping up. But if you let your emotions control you, you'll never be in control of your life. You'll always be at the mercy of whatever you're feeling at the moment. Think about it. When you feel fear, it's not a reflection of your true abilities. Fear is simply a feeling your body produces in response to a perceived threat. It's a survival mechanism, a product of your subconscious mind trying to protect you. But in many cases, that fear isn't based on reality. It's not telling you the truth. It's telling you a story where you're not capable, not worthy, not strong enough. And if you listen to it, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be paralyzed. Because fear, if you let it, can control your entire life. Fear keeps you from taking risks. It keeps you from doing the hard things that will make you better, stronger, and more successful. And then there's doubt. Self-doubt is a killer. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes. It tells you that someone else is better, smarter, more capable. But again, self-doubt is just a feeling. It's a temporary, fleeting emotion that has no real power unless you give it power. The problem is, too many people do. They let their doubts convince them that they're not worthy of success or that they can't possibly make it. And so they don't even try. They don't put in the effort. They don't take the shot. And when you don't take the shot, you miss every single time. What would happen if you learned how to push past that fear? What if you could recognize that self-doubt for what it is, a passing feeling, not a fact? What if you could choose to act in spite of your emotions instead of letting them decide for you? Well, that's the difference between someone who achieves greatness and someone who stays stuck. It's about training yourself to not react automatically to your feelings. It's about recognizing that fear, doubt, and insecurity are just feelings. They're not truths. And they're certainly not worth allowing to dictate your life. Your emotions will try to tell you that you're not good enough, that you can't handle it, that you should just quit. But if you can learn to separate those emotions from your actions, if you can train yourself to move forward, even when you don't feel like it, that's when the magic happens. That's when you begin to truly live. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You don't have to wait for the right time, you just need to act. You need to do the work, even when you feel afraid. Even when you feel uncertain. Because guess what? There will never be a perfect moment. There will never be a time when the fear or doubt completely disappears. But if you can master your mind, if you can choose to act in spite of your feelings, you'll begin to see results. You'll begin to make progress, and slowly but surely, you'll start moving closer to your goals. But mastering your mind doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that just magically clicks into place. It's something that takes practice, patience, and discipline. The first step is recognizing that your thoughts and feelings are not the same thing. You have the power to choose how you respond to them. When you feel anxious or overwhelmed, instead of reacting, take a moment to step back and assess the situation. Ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? Is this feeling actually based on reality, or is it just your mind running wild? More often than not, you'll find that the fear or doubt you're feeling is based on assumptions, not facts. It's based on what might happen, not on what's actually going to happen. That's where the power of mindset comes in. When you can recognize that your thoughts are just thoughts and that they don't have to control you, you can take back control. It's about developing the ability to step outside of your feelings and look at the situation objectively. You've got to train your brain to move past the initial emotional reaction and focus on what needs to be done. It's a shift in thinking. Instead of asking, how do I feel about this? Ask yourself, what needs to be done? Focus on the facts. Focus on the next step. When you do that, you take the power away from your emotions and put it back where it belongs, in your hands. You have to remember that every great achievement, every successful person has faced the same fears, doubts, and insecurities that you're facing right now. The difference is, they didn't let those feelings stop them. They didn't let their emotions dictate their actions. They chose to act in spite of their fear. And that's what allowed them to achieve success. Think about the first time you ever did something difficult. The first time you rode a bike, or the first time you spoke in front of a crowd, or the first time you tried something new. Did you feel fear? Did you feel nervous? Probably. But you did it anyway. You pushed through the fear, you took action. You didn't let your emotions stop you from doing what you needed to do. That's the same mentality you need to carry with you into every challenge in life. The key to mastering your mind is not about eliminating all fear or doubt, but about taking action regardless of those feelings. It's about developing the courage to push forward, even when you feel unprepared, scared, or unsure. And every time you do that, you build your confidence. You prove to yourself that you can handle it, that you are stronger than your emotions. And the more you prove to yourself that you can handle the discomfort, the easier it becomes to do it again. So how do you start? The first thing is to recognize that you are in control. Your thoughts, your feelings, they don't own you. You own them. When you start to realize that, you begin to separate yourself from the emotional roller coaster. You don't let fear stop you. You don't let doubt paralyze you. Instead, you take action, you move forward, you do the work. And every time you do, you're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your emotions. As you start to build that habit of mastering your mind, you'll notice a shift. You'll start to feel less affected by those initial emotional reactions. The fear won't go away, but it won't stop you anymore. The doubt won't paralyze you because you'll be too focused on taking action. And that's when things begin to change. That's when you start to see results. That's when you begin to reach your full potential. If you want to succeed, you have to stop letting your emotions control you. Stop letting fear stop you from doing the things you know you need to do. Stop letting doubt stop you from taking the first step. You are stronger than you think. Your mind is more powerful than you realize. And once you learn to master it, nothing will be able to stop you. Every single day you're making choices. Whether you realize it or not, every decision you make is shaping who you are becoming. And the truth is, the habits you create today are the foundation of your life tomorrow. The habits you choose to cultivate now will either build you up or tear you down. So if you want to break free from weakness and build a stronger version of yourself, it's time to replace those old, ineffective habits with strong ones that will propel you forward. Because in the end, your habits define you. Weakness doesn't just come from external circumstances, it comes from within. It comes from allowing your emotions to dictate your actions, from giving into that voice inside your head that tells you it's okay to slack off, to skip that workout, to put things off for another day. Weakness is about letting those small decisions accumulate into a bigger pattern of mediocrity. When you allow weakness to take root in your life, it grows. It grows in the form of missed opportunities, unfulfilled potential, and a life of regret. But here's the good news: you can replace weakness with strength. The key is to change the habits you follow, to start building the habits that will support the person you want to become, not the one that keeps falling back into old patterns. Habits are the ultimate equalizer. No one is born with an extraordinary ability to make the right choices consistently. But we can all train ourselves to adopt habits that lead us to success, fulfillment, and personal growth. So if you want to transform your life, you have to start by transforming your habits. Replace weak habits with strong, effective ones that will not only help you overcome emotional setbacks, but also equip you with the tools to rise above life's challenges. Weakness doesn't stand a chance against strong habits. The first thing to understand is that habits are the result of repeated actions. They're not something that magically appear overnight. You don't wake up one day and just decide to be a disciplined, hard-working person. You become disciplined by making a series of small, intentional decisions every day. You build the habit of consistency by showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It's those small actions repeated over time that accumulate into massive results. So the key is to start where you are with whatever habits you can control and build from there. Replacing weakness with strength begins with acknowledging the areas in your life where you are being weak. This isn't about beating yourself up, it's about being honest with yourself and recognizing that you're human. We all have areas where we could be stronger. Maybe you procrastinate when it comes to important tasks. Maybe you struggle with discipline around food or exercise. Maybe you let fear or doubt keep you from taking action. These are all weak habits that prevent you from reaching your true potential. But once you acknowledge them, you can begin to make the conscious choice to replace them with strong, empowering habits. Take procrastination, for example. Procrastination is a form of weakness because it's driven by fear, doubt, and avoidance. You delay doing what needs to be done because you're afraid of the outcome or you're uncertain about how to approach it. But the truth is, procrastination only makes things harder in the long run. It builds unnecessary stress, piles up tasks, and leaves you feeling overwhelmed. To replace this weakness, you need to build the habit of action. Instead of putting things off, you start by taking small steps every day. You break down large tasks into manageable chunks and you commit to doing just a little bit every day. Over time, this becomes a habit, and you'll find that you're getting more done with less stress and more confidence. When you replace procrastination with the habit of consistent action, you are strengthening your willpower and discipline. These are the muscles you need to push through life's challenges to stay on course when things get tough. The more you strengthen these habits, the easier it becomes to take action, even when your emotions try to sabotage you. Instead of letting fear or doubt dictate whether or not you take action, you learn to push through those emotions and do it anyway. This is the power of strong habits. They help you rise above weakness and turn it into strength. Now let's talk about discipline. Discipline is the foundation of all strong habits. Without discipline, your desires and intentions are just wishes. Discipline is what turns a wish into reality. When you are disciplined, you do the things that need to be done, whether you feel like doing them or not. It's about building the habit of self-control, even when temptation is staring you in the face. Discipline isn't about being perfect, it's about making consistent choices that align with your long-term goals, even when it's hard. Think about working out. How many times have you skipped a workout because you didn't feel like it? How many times have you told yourself you start tomorrow or after the weekend or once things calm down? That's weakness talking. But if you replace the habit of skipping workouts with the habit of discipline, it changes everything. You wake up and you make the decision to do it, even when you don't feel like it. You don't wait until you feel motivated, you just do it, because that's what disciplined people do. And as you continue to push yourself, that discipline becomes a habit. Eventually it becomes second nature. You don't even have to think about it anymore, you just show up. And over time, the results speak for themselves. The same goes for your diet, your finances, your relationships, and any other area of your life where you want to improve. When you develop the habit of discipline, you stop letting emotions like laziness, fear, or doubt control your decisions. You start to make choices that are in alignment with your bigger goals, regardless of how you feel in the moment. You don't give in to weakness. You stay committed to your long-term vision, even when it feels uncomfortable in the short term. Building strong habits doesn't just stop at discipline. It also involves developing emotional resilience. Life is going to throw things at you, disappointments, setbacks, challenges, and when you're in the middle of a tough time, it's easy to let your emotions get the best of you. It's easy to feel defeated, to want to quit, to give in to frustration. But if you've built the habit of emotional resilience, you can rise above those moments. Emotional resilience is the ability to handle stress and adversity without letting it derail you. It's the habit of pushing forward, even when you feel like quitting. To develop emotional resilience, you need to practice controlling your emotional responses. Instead of letting frustration or anger dictate your actions, you learn to pause, breathe, and assess the situation objectively. You don't let temporary emotions cloud your judgment. You stay focused on your goals and you take the next step, even when it feels difficult. Over time, this becomes a habit. You become someone who doesn't give up when things get tough. You become someone who rises to the challenge instead of shrinking from it. When you combine emotional resilience with discipline and consistent action, you're building a foundation for success. You're replacing weak, reactive habits with strong, proactive ones. You're no longer controlled by your emotions or the circumstances around you. Instead, you are in control. And that's when you start to see real progress in your life. Another key habit that replaces weakness is the habit of setting goals. Without clear goals, it's easy to drift through life reacting to whatever comes your way. You might work hard, but if you don't know where you're headed, all that effort can feel like running in place. But when you set clear, specific goals, you give yourself a direction. You create a roadmap for your success. The habit of setting goals helps you stay focused, even when emotions like frustration or disappointment threaten to knock you off course. You know what you're working toward, and that vision keeps you motivated. Goal setting isn't just about having big dreams. It's about breaking those dreams down into actionable steps. It's about creating habits around achieving your goals. Every goal you set should have a clear plan of action behind it. Whether it's a career goal, a fitness goal, or a personal development goal, you need to break it down into smaller, more manageable tasks, and then you need to create the habit of working toward those tasks every day. As you replace weak habits with strong ones, you'll begin to see real transformation in your life. You'll notice that you're more focused, more disciplined, more resilient. You'll find that you're able to handle challenges and setbacks with greater ease. You'll become the kind of person who gets things done, no matter how they feel. And eventually, those strong habits will compound and bring you the success you've always wanted. The truth is, you don't have to be born with extraordinary willpower or talent. What you need are strong, consistent habits. And those habits are within your control. You can build them one decision at a time. So stop letting weakness hold you back. Replace it with strength. Replace it with habits that will propel you to the next level of success. You have the power to shape your future, and it all starts with the habits you choose to build today. Too many people wait for the perfect moment to start. They tell themselves, once everything falls into place, then I'll take action. They think that success will somehow come when the timing is right, when all the stars align, when the conditions are perfect. But here's the harsh truth: perfection doesn't exist. The perfect moment will never come. And if you're waiting for it, you'll be stuck in a never-ending cycle of indecision and inaction. Success isn't about waiting for things to be perfect. It's about taking action regardless of how imperfect the situation may seem. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't is simple. Those who succeed take action. Even when they don't feel ready, even when things are uncertain. They don't wait for all the pieces to be in place. They get moving and start making things happen. You can't expect success to just fall into your lap while you sit there waiting for the right time. If you want to succeed, you have to act, even when you don't have all the answers. Because let's be real, you're never going to have all the answers. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll be waiting forever. Think about it. How many times have you put something off because you were afraid it wasn't going to be perfect? How many projects have you started and then abandoned because you thought you didn't have it all figured out yet? How many opportunities have you missed because you wanted to wait for the perfect time? We've all been there. It's easy to fall into the trap of perfectionism. It feels safe, doesn't it? If you wait until everything is perfect, then you won't fail. If you wait for the right conditions, you won't make mistakes. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. There will always be challenges, roadblocks, and things you can't control. So the key to success is not perfection, it's action. When you take action, you create momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. When you start moving, things start happening. You start making progress, and that progress leads to more progress. The more you take action, the more clarity you gain. You start learning as you go, making adjustments, finding solutions, and figuring out what works and what doesn't. Success is not a straight line, it's a process. It's about figuring things out as you go, learning from your mistakes, and continuously adjusting your approach. And the only way to do that is to take action. But here's the thing, taking action doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out. In fact, the majority of successful people started out with very little knowledge or experience. They didn't wait until they knew everything. They didn't wait for the perfect plan or for the perfect timing. They took action anyway. They made mistakes, learned from them, and kept going. They understood that perfection is a myth and that the only way to improve is by doing. You have to be willing to take the first step, even if you're unsure of the next one. And even if you fail, you get back up, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Perfectionism is a form of fear. It's the fear of not being good enough, the fear of failing, the fear of making a mistake. And fear is a powerful force. Fear will keep you stuck. It will keep you stuck. It will keep you playing small, staying in your comfort zone, avoiding risks, and staying in a safe, predictable life. But when you let fear control you, you're essentially guaranteeing that you won't succeed. Fear keeps you in a state of inaction, of indecision. It paralyzes you. But action, on the other hand, is the antidote to fear. When you take action, even when you don't feel ready, you face that fear head on. And every step you take in the face of fear is a step toward confidence, growth, and ultimately success. The other thing about perfectionism is that it's rooted in comparison. We live in a world where we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. We look at people who are already successful and we think we have to be just like them to succeed. We think that success requires us to have the same skills, resources, or opportunities. But the truth is, no one's journey is the same. Everyone has their own path, and what works for one person might not work for another. You can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle or end. And when you try to emulate someone else's perfection, you're only holding yourself back. Instead of worrying about being perfect or comparing yourself to others, focus on taking action and moving forward. Trust that your unique path will unfold as long as you keep moving. Another thing to remember is that success is built on consistency, not perfection. People who succeed don't succeed because they were perfect. They succeed because they showed up day after day, no matter how imperfect the journey was. It's the small actions, the consistent effort that leads to big results. Success isn't about making one big move and hoping everything falls into place. It's about taking consistent steps over and over again, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when you don't see immediate results. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is to get comfortable with the idea of imperfection. Accept that you're not going to have everything figured out. Accept that mistakes are part of the process and that failure is just a stepping stone on the way to success. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to get better. But you can't learn or grow if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment. Action is what gives you the experience, the insights, and the knowledge to improve. Another critical point is that perfectionism can be a form of procrastination. You tell yourself you're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect circumstances, but the truth is, you're just avoiding taking action. Procrastination is often disguised as perfectionism. You're not really trying to avoid failure, you're just too afraid to start because you're worried about doing it wrong. The fear of not being perfect can keep you paralyzed, and that's exactly what procrastination does. It keeps you stuck in the same place, avoiding action and wasting time. But when you stop waiting for perfection and start taking action, you break free from procrastination. You start making real progress, and that progress will eventually lead you to the results you want. Let's also talk about the fear of judgment. Perfectionism often comes from a place of wanting to avoid judgment or criticism. We worry about what other people will think of our work, our decisions, or our efforts. But here's the truth: people are more focused on their own lives than they are on yours. They're not sitting around scrutinizing your every move. And even if they are, their opinions don't define your worth or your potential. The fear of judgment can paralyze you, but it's a fear that only exists in your mind. When you let go of the need to be perfect in the eyes of others, you give yourself permission to take action without worrying about what others think. You start doing things for yourself, not for anyone else. And that's when the magic happens. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. It's about taking action every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about putting in the work, even when things are messy or uncertain. Perfection is an illusion that keeps you stuck, but action is what moves you forward. So if you want to succeed, stop waiting for the perfect moment and start acting. The more you act, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the closer you get to your success. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Success is about progress, not perfection. And the only way to make progress is to take action. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It doesn't happen when things are easy, when everything is going smoothly, and when you feel safe and secure. Growth happens in the discomfort, when you push beyond what you know, when you stretch yourself past your current limits, and when you face the challenges that feel overwhelming at first. It happens when you confront the difficult situations that force you to evolve and adapt, and when you rise up in the face of adversity instead of running from it. If you want to grow, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to embrace the discomfort, not shy away from it. Think about it, all the best things in life come from some form of challenge. Success doesn't just fall into your lap. The best accomplishments, the most rewarding achievements, the biggest breakthroughs, they all come after you face discomfort. Whether it's the discomfort of hard work, of learning something new, of stepping into the unknown, or of dealing with failure, growth always requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Without discomfort, there is no real progress. Without discomfort, there is no change. You don't grow by sitting back, by taking the easy route, by avoiding the challenges that make you feel uneasy. Growth comes from pushing through those challenges, from embracing the discomfort and using it as fuel to become stronger, smarter, and better. The first thing to realize is that discomfort is a natural part of growth. It's a signal that you're pushing yourself, that you're trying something new, that you're expanding your limits. People often think that discomfort is something to avoid, but the truth is, discomfort is a sign that you're on the right track. When you feel uncomfortable, it means you're breaking through a barrier, that you're doing something that challenges your current abilities and forces you to grow. It's easy to stay where it feels safe, but staying in your comfort zone doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you stronger, it just keeps you stuck. If you want to achieve something more, you have to be willing to face the discomfort. Think about any time in your life when you've achieved something meaningful. Did you get there by staying in your comfort zone? Did you get there by taking the easy route? No. You got there by doing things that were hard, by facing things that made you uncomfortable, by working through the challenges that others might have given up on. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt or fear that you face, that's where the growth happened. You might not have realized it at the time, but it was in those moments when you chose to push through the discomfort that you were building strength, building resilience, and moving closer to your goals. This is what people often misunderstand about success and growth. They think it's supposed to feel easy, that it should come with no obstacles, no failures, no struggles, but that's a fantasy. Real growth, real success comes from the struggle. It comes from the times when things aren't going perfectly, when you feel uncertain, when you question yourself, when you feel exhausted and ready to quit. Those moments are the very moments that shape you. They push you to develop new skills, to learn new things, to evolve into the person you need to be to succeed. The idea that growth comes from comfort is a myth. If you only focus on the things that come easily to you, you will never reach your potential. You will always be limiting yourself. The only way to get better, to become more than you are today, is to face things that challenge you, to experience discomfort, and to learn how to handle it. And while it's true that facing discomfort can feel painful in the moment, it's important to realize that this discomfort is temporary. It's part of the process. The discomfort doesn't last forever. What stays with you is the growth you experience from pushing through it. Another key part of facing discomfort is learning to embrace failure. Failure is an essential part of the growth process. You can't grow without failing. No one ever became great by avoiding failure. You can't be afraid to fail, because failure is not the end of the road, it's part of the journey. Every failure is a lesson. Every mistake is a chance to learn, to reassess, to adapt, and to try again. When you avoid discomfort, you're also avoiding the lessons that come with failure. If you never fail, you never learn. And if you never learn, you never grow. There is a saying that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is the essence of growth. Growth comes from facing failure head on and refusing to be defeated by it. It comes from getting back up every time you fall, from using your failures as stepping stones to reach greater heights. The truth is, the more uncomfortable you are with failure, the less likely you are to succeed. You have to develop the courage to fail, the courage to keep going even when things aren't perfect, and the courage to keep moving forward in the face of discomfort. But growth doesn't just come from big failures, it also comes from the everyday discomforts, the small challenges that test your patience, your discipline, your work ethic. It comes from putting in the long hours when you don't feel like it. It comes from doing the things that aren't glamorous, from making sacrifices, from pushing yourself past the limits of what's easy. These daily discomforts are where true growth is built. It's in the grind, the effort, the persistence that you develop the strength to handle even bigger challenges in the future. One of the most powerful ways to grow through discomfort is to shift your mindset. Instead of seeing discomfort as something to avoid, see it as a tool for growth. Instead of thinking, this is too hard, I can't handle this, think, this is exactly what I need to get better. This is exactly what will make me stronger. The way you view discomfort can either hold you back or push you forward. If you see discomfort as a barrier, you'll shy away from it. But if you see discomfort as an opportunity to grow, you'll welcome it. You'll embrace it because you'll know that every time you face something difficult, you're becoming a better version of yourself. One of the biggest challenges people face is the discomfort of stepping into the unknown. When you don't know what's ahead, when you can't see the path clearly, it can be scary. But it's in those moments of uncertainty where the greatest growth happens. When you step into the unknown, you stretch yourself. You learn things you never thought you would. You figure out ways to solve problems, to adapt, to push through uncertainty. Growth never happens when you're standing still, when you're waiting for all the answers. Growth happens when you leap into the unknown, trusting that you'll figure it out along the way. Another important aspect of growth through discomfort is persistence. Discomfort isn't something you experience once and move on from. It's something you'll face again and again, especially if you're truly growing and challenging yourself. Growth requires persistence, the willingness to keep going, even when the going gets tough. It requires you to develop resilience, the ability to bounce back after setbacks and keep moving forward, no matter how difficult things may seem. Success is built on persistence. It's built on your ability to keep going when everything in you wants to quit. It's about embracing the discomfort and continuing to put one foot in front of the other, even when the road is hard. The people who are the most successful aren't the ones who never faced discomfort. They are the ones who didn't let discomfort stop them. They are the ones who faced their challenges, their fears, and their failures head on and kept going. They learned how to be comfortable with discomfort, to use it as a catalyst for growth. And that's why they succeeded. Growth comes from facing discomfort, from pushing yourself past what's easy, and from developing the strength, resilience, and mindset to handle whatever life throws your way. If you want to grow, if you want to succeed, you have to embrace discomfort. It's the only way to become the person you're meant to be.